Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, it's 10:30, and that means it is the Yard's Breakfast Buddies online. Here we go again, day 2 of this week of Breakfast Buddies. As you can see, I'm joined by a few people this morning. Actually, we've got 2 elves with us. We are blessed with 2 elves with us today, very lucky. So we've got Beth with us this morning. Good morning, Beth.
Hello, how are you, Jasmine?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I feel like we're letting the side down a bit here with our non-Christmassy jumpers.
I know. Well, they just pulled it out the bag last minute, didn't they? Was just about to go live, and I made a comment saying I've got my Christmas tree in the background. Well, they didn't want to be outdone, did they? Laurel ran off with a Christmas hoodie, and Rachel went off and got her Christmas hat. Friday, we're going to be doing all the Christmas.
I will get a jumper at some point today.
You're going to buy one, or you got one?
Yeah. I've got one, should be delivered soon. So
oh, okay.
Fingers
crossed it's here for Friday. You'll be a real little elf, won't you? So obviously we've got Rachel down in the bottom corner. How are you today, Rachel?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. And last but not least, we've got our lovely Laurel in our Christmas hoodie. How are you doing today, Laurel?
I'm okay.
You're good?
Yeah.
Is that Christmas hoodie a new one, or?
No, I've had this one for a while. It's actually a man's hoodie, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember seeing you wear that till last Christmassy period. So yeah, I like that. Nice. Loving it. So here we go again today. Let's start off with our internal weather, as we always do. We all love a bit of it, or not, as the case may be. So I'll kick us off this morning then. My internal weather today is, I'm feeling a bit foggy today, guys. I did not have a good night's sleep last night. So you remember yesterday I was telling you that I was going for my booster?
Yeah.
I had Moderna, and it was all fine. But I have never in my life had so much pain in my arm from this injection. To the point last night, so I had it in my left arm. It's not just like there where I had it, it's in my shoulder, it's in my armpit. It's like every time I turned over in bed last night, the pain was waking me up. So I feel so tired this morning. So if I start getting my words wrong or I start talking about nonsense, someone just give me a virtual kick, please. But yeah, so I'm foggy today. I feel foggy. I'm all right though. Once this pain goes, I didn't have any of the symptoms of like last time where I felt really fluey or any of that. So I think once this arm gets better, I'm going to be all good. But then I was speaking to Bianca, and she had Moderna yesterday as well, and she's had the same thing. So maybe it's just one of the. They did say to me, your arm might hurt a bit. They didn't say to me it's going to absolutely kill though. So yeah, they fooled me. So yeah, this morning my internal weather is I'm a little bit foggy, but I'm all good. I think the fog's going to lift later. Laurel, how are you doing? What's your internal weather?
It's the same as yesterday. It's a bit cloudy, a bit better than yesterday, just a bit cloudy. It should have maybe a bit of sunshine later. Maybe not.
I like that. There's a chance of sunshine. That's always good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely. Rachel, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling good. Neck still hurts a little bit, but mentally I'm doing okay. And also I might venture to hobbycraft. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to do something different. Yeah.
Change of scenery.
Yeah, or make something for the house for Christmas. Why not?
Oh, that's nice. So would you say then you're a little bit some sunshine coming out behind some clouds potentially when you get to the craft?
I hope so. It's either going to go beaming with happiness with finding what I want, or doomy dark cloud where I'm halfway through the project and it's a complete mess.
Oh,
myself.
Keeping our fingers crossed that it's a positive outcome to your project. We will of course expect you to show us it later in the week.
Oh yeah, of course.
And see what you did, because I love to see what you guys are all doing. And then Beth, how about you? What's your internal weather this morning?
I'm feeling like a very crisp, frosty morning this morning. Fresh layer of frost on the ground. It's like that crunch when you go outside. We're not quite at that slushy, melted, muddy bit yet. It just feels quite nice. Yeah, that's always the worst bit.
is, definitely. It's so mild at the moment, though, isn't it? It doesn't feel, basically, what are we now? 10 sleeps till Christmas, as my kids keep reminding me. Normally, like, it's proper wrapping up and it's cold and it's so mild. Like, my daughter's going to school, like Mabel's going to school in just like a raincoat, not even a big thick coat because she's too hot. And as much as I don't like the cold, I feel like as we approach Christmas, I want to have that cold feeling and need hats and scarves and gloves because it makes me feel more in the Christmassy mood. Yeah. I guess the good thing on the other side of, the other side of the coin is, with it being a bit milder, it's not as much pressure to keep the houses heated quite as much. Remember when we had that real cold spell about a week or so ago?
Yeah.
Absolutely freezing. I haven't got my heating on at the minute, but I mean, maybe being in all day, I might need to later. But it's nice not having that pressure of having to have it on just to keep warm. So I suppose that is a good thing. And I haven't seen the weather forecast actually. I don't know if it's we're meant to get a bit colder, or are we having a mild Christmas? Because I thought we were having a white Christmas, someone said a while ago.
Yeah, it seems like this storm Bara hasn't hit us as badly as it has other places in the UK.
Yeah, definitely. It seems to have come out of it okay, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, okie dokie then. Right, so we're going to talk about a few different things going on in Northampton and in, the UK, and just have a general natter really this morning. So, Beth, have you got anything you've seen going on in Northampton that we could have a chat about?
If I just share my screen with you, then you can all see what I'm talking about. But that means I can't see all of you, so if you pull funny faces at me, I won't be able to see it.
Quick, now's our chance.
So something that I've seen, I think this was yesterday actually, but the new mayor of Northampton is setting up a support group for people with fibromyalgia.
Okay.
So I don't know if you all know what fibromyalgia is. I mean, Laurel, you probably know because you're medically wizard.
I've got a rough idea, but it would be really good. Perhaps there might be people watching who don't really know. Can you share with us, Laurel, what is it?
Fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition where fibrous muscle unfortunately gets inflamed and causes pain. And you go through times where it's sort of like you've got no pain at all and you can do all the stuff. And then sometimes you overdo it and then you end up with like a flare up. So for several weeks, you end up with like just severe pain, and some people just can't get out of bed, can't do any jobs. Like they just have to lie in bed. And then sometimes you're fine, but in the winter it seems to get worse. The cold makes it worse. So in the cold weather, it's harder to get around.
Yeah.
Sounds awful. And is there, I guess there's no cure for it, but there's medication that can be taken to ease it?
Yeah, I think it says in here somewhere, a lot of people take antidepressants for it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's quite a traumatic thing, if I can find whereabouts it was in there.
Because that usually happens with chronic pain, isn't it? Sometimes you get, it goes hand in hand. When you have chronic pain, you seem to have depression as well.
Yeah. Well, you know about chronic pain, don't you, Rachel? Because you've got.
So I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is different, but I do understand with fibromyalgia, my mum struggled with it, and it seemed to have very similar experiences that we have with it, but I do feel like it's really difficult for my mum because with me, at least you got medication, like medical stuff to kind of support it, when with fibromyalgia it's kind of like it's seen as like a hidden disability. It's not really well known, not many people know of it, so it takes a long time to get the support for it as well. But this is really good.
Is it something you're born with, or can it just develop at any time? Do you know?
So
any time, I think.
Yeah. This says a physically or emotionally stressful event, such as giving birth, the death of a loved one, or having an operation.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, my mum had it just from having a really bad injury from the top of her head from a garage door. And it's something after that day like she's not been the same. And then with giving birth and stuff, it's scary how it can cause it. And it's not just older people, young people get it as well. So is there like age group for it? For the support?
It hasn't said anything, but I was just about to say there's an email address and a telephone number on there. So what I can do is if I copy and paste the email and telephone, then if anyone is interested in learning a bit more, she's basically said that she just wants to set up this group to raise awareness and offer support for people in Northampton with fibromyalgia. She said that it says here she wants to listen to people's stories and then get an idea of how often they would like to meet, what kind of support they need, and whether they would prefer to meet face-to-face or over Zoom. I think for fibromyalgia, it's a really difficult one because it's that whole hidden disability thing, where if people don't see it, then they're not necessarily going to know about it. And obviously this is quite a traumatic thing for a lot of people.
Definitely. And like we just said a minute ago, it's there is always that connection, isn't there, between sort of chronic pain and mental health? Because, you know, if you think I'm lucky, I don't suffer from any sort of chronic pain in the sense I don't have any, you know, medical things going on. But just when you're not feeling 100%, like I haven't felt well since having COVID. I've never quite been right. I've been run down, and it makes you feel down. You feel depressed, and, you know, but the people who have to live with that constantly, you can understand how sort of devastating that could be on your mental health, couldn't it? You know,
very isolating as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you just said, with it being an invisible illness, you know, hard for some people to be able to perhaps understand what you're going through or how best to sort of help. So to have a support group, which is actually in Northampton, I think that's brilliant. And also, like, maybe for some people who are suffering from fibromyalgia, just to speak to other people going through the same thing.
It does do a world of good.
And just for someone else to go, I know exactly what you mean, and I feel the same. And, you know, it's all very well having friends and family to talk to, but sometimes having someone who can actually relate to your problem completely really does make a world of difference, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, no, that's really good. Do you know what? This is going to sound really bad. I didn't even know the mayor of Northampton was a lady. I don't think I've ever seen her before. What's her name?
Her name is Rufia Ashraf.
How long has she been the mayor for? Does anyone know?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
Gosh, I've never, ever heard of her.
I should know.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I need to, you know, educate myself more. And
Same. Yeah.
So Beth, if you stick the contact details for that in our comments, that'd be amazing. Some people can just sort of refer back to that if they wanted to get in touch and join in with that support group.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, no, that's really good. That was a really nice little article to talk about. Rachel, did you say you found something this morning?
Yeah, I don't know how to share it. Oh wait, I might do. Do I press the share button?
I've no idea because I can't do it. I need to
press share and then
share
it'll
screen.
pop up a window.
This is literally.
I'm learning as I go, people.
I'm a technophobe. I'm like, I don't know how to do it. Beth's like, I'll do it.
Screen 2. Yeah, I can live with that. Okay. Can I make it larger? Yeah. Oh, learning guide. But yeah, basically this is a story about a kind of like a Christmas drive. So there is a lady called Jeanette who refers to herself as a Christmas. And it is the last push for a toy appeal. I don't know if you can see the screen. But Jeanette Walsh was someone who is a social worker. So she is a former social worker, and herself has also been raised in care. And she remembered her very first time receiving her Christmas present when she was in the care system, and she wanted to pay it forward by putting together a drive of donations. And all you need to do is donate gift money until the very last minute. There's nothing that they can't do, and there is also a link for it as well, for if there's any areas of development or age group that's not got enough gift, the money will go towards that age group. So they're making sure that they cater for everything. But it was the day before her 6th birthday that she was taken into care, which I thought was, bless her.
Yeah, it's really sad. But what a lovely thing that she's doing though. So did you say that she's collecting all these toys and gifts and then distributing them to children in care as well?
Yes, so there was a mention of, I believe, a Nando's. So it's over the past month, Mother Christmas had collected all kinds of drop-off at the Nando's restaurant, Wellington Museum, and Once Angel Square. So I'm guessing that's the office place.
No, that's it. Is it the council building? That is.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that's the council building.
But apparently, people of Northampton, even during tough times of COVID, we pretty much was very generous, and there's nothing to stop us from doing it again this year.
Yeah.
It is such a nice story because she experienced it when she was younger, thinking, oh my God, someone is thinking about me and bought me a present. And now she's doing it back. So it's a lovely way of paying it forward.
Yeah.
But I will share the link, but there is a link here to donate via Just Giving.
Oh, brilliant.
And it's put together by Faraway Children's Charity. And so far, they've raised £2,041, which is amazing.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. Also, I like the fact that, you can donate online money. You've got it spare, but also you can drop presents off at Nando's and those drop-off points, because some people at the minute might not be going out now because of COVID and trying to keep safe and perhaps are vulnerable. But there's still a way, if you've got a few extra pennies in your purse, that you could make a big difference, I guess, to a lot of children's Christmases. Because something that I always, Christmas these days, I'm guilty of it as well with my 2 children. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's so many children that don't receive very much and don't perhaps even receive anything. I wondered what you was doing then, Laurel. All I could see was your red head. What was you doing?
Blanket back up.
Oh, pulling your blanket up. And it's like, not just children that are in care, children that are from not as well off families and things like that. When children go in to school, perhaps in January, and say, Father Christmas bought me a PlayStation, or this, or that, or that. And then maybe one of their friends or someone in their class who Father Christmas got them a jigsaw puzzle. So that's all their parents could afford. And I think one thing about Christmas, and is really, really important to remember, is if if your children are getting great big gifts for Christmas, then put them from yourselves. It's not for us to say what you can and can't buy your children. Perhaps make the smaller gift from Father Christmas, so that there isn't that, that feeling of, oh, well, Father Christmas must really love that child because they got an iPad, but I got, a jigsaw. It's and it happens more than what you think. And I've heard so many stories over these past few weeks of people I've spoke to who, whose children it's happened to, or grandchildren. So, I just think at this time of year, it is really important to remember that. But also, what a fantastic thing this lady's doing. And if you can spare anything.
Prop to Jeanette. So good on you, Jeanette. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll stick those links in the comment box, will you, Rachel?
Yes, I will do.
Awesome. Anything else Northampton-wise going on today that we want to chat about?
Something that I've seen is, I don't know whether you've all seen those boy electric scooters that are around Northampton.
Oh, yeah.
Loads of them out. So they are actually dotting about some gold ones that have been wrapped in a gold covering, and this is part of their Christmas charity campaign. So they are connected with a charity called Cycling Projects, who provide bikes for children and adults with disabilities. So every ride that you take on one of these gold scooters, the money actually goes to this charity, which is really good because it also, like the children in care receiving presents, disabled children and adults are able to receive bikes, which I thought is really nice.
Lovely. That's really lovely. I'll be keeping my eye out. Not that I'm ever going to go on one.
I'll keep
my eye out just to look at them, but I'm never going to go on one because I will be that person who falls off in front of a bus or something. I'm so clumsy. And I see people riding around a bit on them. I do sort of feel like, oh, I'd love to have a go, but I'm too scared. I certainly wouldn't be able to go on like a road or anything. You know, where our office is, where our building, you know, the yard is on Gold Street. You see a lot of people coming down and going across that.
Yeah.
That junction there scares the life out of me.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's like 2 of them on there.
Yeah.
One's holding on the back. I've seen people come past with all their shopping on the thing, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is so scary to me. And no helmets as well.
Yeah.
And that's they do look scary to me. But what a lovely thing though to do as well.
Yeah.
To donate that money to that charity, because I imagine. Imagine bikes for some disabilities will have to be adapted and are therefore costing a lot more money.
Yeah,
so that's a really lovely charity for those sort of donations to go. We'll all have to keep an eye out and see if I'm not really going anywhere now because I'm working. But if anyone's out and sees one, let's pop a picture on our social media because I'd love to just see what one looks like, and it'd be interesting to see if lots of people are riding on them. So I'm just having a quick look in the comments. So Bianca, loving the outfits, Rachel and Laura. Rachel and Laurel. I was like, who the hell is Laura? See, I'm doing it already. It's Laura the elf. As I read that and it came out my mouth, I was like, I don't know what I'm saying. I told you my brain's not gonna go well today. And then Beth and Jasmine are going to have to up their game. Just wait till Friday. Just wait till Friday, Christmas Tuesday. We're going to be bringing all the Christmas. I mean, I think one of us should actually dress up as like Father Christmas or something. I haven't got an outfit, so I'll leave that one to you, Beth.
Okay, thanks.
No, we will. I mean, to be fair, Laurel and Rachel, you stitched your stuff a bit. You put these on about 1 minute before we were going live, so.
Well, I noticed my room is just very cream.
Yeah.
Amazing about this room.
You need some tinsel. You need your little Christmas project to go up this afternoon once you've done it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so moving on from Northampton, I just wanted to talk about an article that I read this morning, and I just thought it was really interesting. I'm going to get it. I can't. How do I? No, it's not going to work for me, girls. But I can't share it. Oh, you've got it. There you go.
There you go.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. So so this, have you heard about this? This law student, so only 19 years old.
Yeah.
He moves into his first accommodation at university, and he's so disgusted really with how it looks. Apparently, it was a building site. Sorry.
Oh, that is bad. My headphone came out.
Oh, what's going on?
Don't know what's going on, but there's a massive hole in the ceiling. If I turned up and I saw that big of a hole in my uni accommodation ceiling.
I know, it's crazy. And we have to remember that student accommodation isn't cheap.
No.
So it's not like he's just gone for the cheapest, you know, he's paying a decent amount of money. He was he was at the University of East Anglia, and it was September last year when he moved in, and he was studying law. So he decided to take on I don't know if is it the landlord or is it?
Yeah, the landlord.
Yeah, the landlord. And he taught himself through reading and all these sort of legal stuff, textbooks, and he started building a case.
Yeah.
He collected witness statements, and he put together the case law and statute law surrounding contract representation and sued the landlord for breach of contract and misrepresentation. Now, what do you think to that?
I think this big statement, young people need to back themselves. I think that is so true. if you're going in somewhere expected to pay £7,000, I think that's a lot of money for them to be spending, to then turn up and this whole thing be falling apart around them.
Yeah.
It's right. Young people do need to back themselves, and when something isn't up to the standards they were sold it to be,
yeah. But don't you think it's such an amazing story, because there's not many people who would have the tenacity and the balls really to go, do you know what? I'm gonna stick up for what I know what's right here, and I'm gonna give it a shot. Because you'd think a student taking on a landlord who's only just starting his law degree, it's very, very admirable what this lad's done, isn't it? I mean, I don't personally think I could do something like that. And how great this lad believes in himself so much, and believes in, you know, the unfairness of what this landlord has done to be able to do this. And hopefully it will start to set more of a precedent to letting, you know, people know that we can stand up for ourselves. You can. It's not always, you know, the bigger and the higher up sort of person that will always win.
Yeah, definitely.
I just want to show this because we're speaking to Manoli yesterday. So good morning, everyone. I've just shared your link to some BFAWU groups. Another people will join your session. Oh, amazing. Thank you. The more, the merrier. Definitely. So actually, this is quite interesting, going back to this. So Bianca said, when have you stood up for yourselves? Well, Rachel, I know you actually probably out of all of us, you are very good. You've lived having to stand up for yourselves because your voice has been heard, hasn't it? So just give us a brief example of a time when you've stood up for yourself.
In relation of like being a student and finally realizing that I had control of the situation, was when I did Northampton College Foundation Learning, and it was a taste course, so you can do maybe media one term, music the next, or whatever. And I decided to do catering because it's important to know how to cook. However, they said if you want to cook, you need to go out and buy shoes in order to wear to go into our thing. And I said, but everyone else gets given shoes. And they said yes. And I went, so why not me? And they couldn't argue it. But I said, it's not my fault that I'm short and that I have small feet and all of these things. So I should be entitled to a brand new pair of shoes for maybe another short person to do next year. And if you do that, maybe it might make me want to stay and do catering as a vocation. And they couldn't argue it. But at first, I would have the catering teachers have a go at me. And then I went above them to say, look, I know the rules. And the person didn't complain. He was like, you're right. Bought me a pair of shoes. And I still got them to this day, like steel-toed, little. Still got them somewhere. But that's like the most time where when you're a student and you realise, wait a minute, I'm in the right here. So things like that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's a great example of how you stood up for yourself. What about you, Laurel? When have you stood up for yourself? Can you think of
probably in the first year of university. Unfortunately, all my disability paperwork hadn't gone properly through yet. And I'd been told by the disability department that I just had to ask my lecturers and then they would just do the rest of it. And I had a lecturer ask me, do you really need this support for your exams? And I was like, yes, I do. This is what I usually get. Unfortunately, my paperwork hasn't gone through yet. This is what I've been told to ask if I can have. They kept on asking, are you sure you need this? I'm like, yes, I am definitely sure I need this. And then they kept asking me, and I was like, yes, I do. And then they emailed my disability department, and they're like, yep, we can do that. So I just kind of keep going at them, going, yeah, I do definitely need this, even though I haven't got my paperwork through, because it took ages for them to read it all.
Don't you think it's a real shame, though, that you have to go to those lengths just to get what you deserve? Same as, you know, Rachel, you deserve to have the shoes. Laurel, you deserve to have, you know, why why is it taking so much of you having to stand up for yourself, and those things should be provided anyway?
Definitely.
I don't know if it's because it's like first year for you, and then with me it was like vocation, not really taking it seriously. Do they think, oh well, they're not going to take it seriously, we're not going to bother? But with like first year of uni, you got like two difference of someone that will take it very seriously, or freshers of like, yeah, I'm going to take it easy, do what I want. But it shouldn't be the case of, are you sure you need this? And it's like, yes, of course I do. Like, I grew up with this. So that's very, very sad to hear that you would have to tell people who are supposed to support you, yes, I need this.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't give them any confidence at all.
Yeah. Beth, have you got any example of when you've ever stood up for yourself?
The only one that sticks out in my mind is when I was about 17, I got a Christmas temp job at River Island, and I only had a 5-hour shift, and for that entire 5 hours they used to stick me in the changing rooms, and I used to think, why am I here? What am I doing in this changing room? So I went up to the floor manager and I was like, why is because everyone else was being till trained, and I said to them, why aren't I? And they were like, oh, we just need people on the changing room. So I said, well, we can swap. I don't need 5 hours stuck in the changing rooms when it was quiet on a Tuesday afternoon. So in the end, I did end up being till trained and got out of the changing rooms. But that was a nightmare. I think with big companies like that, they think they can get away with doing whatever they like, when actually no.
Well, I think that's the problem. You just hit the nail on the head there. They think they can get away with what they like, because not everyone will stand up to them, because sometimes you're fearful of repercussions, because unfortunately sometimes if you dare to be the one to stand up and voice how you really feel, it can end up coming back to bite you on the backside, can't it? But if you don't have some people who do end up standing up to people, then things will never change, will they? So I really, really love this law student article, and I think it's a great example of what can be done.
Yeah, I hope it starts like a chain reaction for other students who have experienced similar, because there are going to be more students out there whose accommodation isn't as it was sold in the glossy brochure you get on the open day kind of thing.
I mean, I never went to uni, but I can imagine that this is not an isolated case, is it? These are going to be, absolutely loads. What was yours, Laurel?
I've heard from students of friends of mine saying that their literacy is not properly wired up properly, and they've got like awful problems with like their places. Like I've had weird horror stories said at me, and I'm like, you're good, you stayed at home because you don't have any of these weird things. I'm like, I think I am.
Yeah. Well, I guess the problem is, isn't it, like with a lot of these landlords who rent out university accommodation to university students, they don't really care, do they? Because all they're thinking about is the money, getting as many students into sort of not an apartment, but like the building as they can, to make sure they're cashing in on the most amount of money. Probably doing everything on the cheapest side possible to make sure that their gains are as much as possible, which is so wrong, but you hear so much of it happening, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
So let's hope that this, like you just said, Beth, let's hope that this perhaps starts a little chain reaction and people are going to start to become a bit more what's the word, I don't know, just standing up for themselves a bit more, I guess. Cool. So we have one more thing I think we was going to chat about today. That was sort of, Rachel, that was your one, wasn't it? It's been all over the news this morning about that poor little girl.
Oh, yeah. So there's this little girl called Star, and it's national, isn't it?
Yeah.
And basically...
I want to say Leeds, but I could be wrong.
I think so. So Star Hobson. So we got a call from the babysitter who looked after her. Share screen. Quiet doggo.
No, it's cat.
I'm cat. Okay, great. Right, give me a moment, guys. So Holly Jones was 18, lodged an anonymous tip-off to Bradford City Council over the concerns of Star's mother Frankie, and then she got a partner called Savannah. And basically, social services phoned an hour beforehand to say that they were coming. And in that time, apparently it was first to 5 alerts from concerned relatives. But in that time, they basically were cleaning up the place, covering up bruises on the baby, like makeup, using makeup. And because the babysitter was also there when the visit happened, they told her to hold the kid so the social worker didn't get a good look at her. And so after that, they went back to report to the babysitter to say that there's no concerns and there's nothing to worry about. And unfortunately, it's one of those things where another poor little life has been let down.
Yeah. Well, she was only 16 months old when she died.
Yeah.
And I was watching Good Morning Britain this morning, and her granddad, they interviewed him, and he was saying, you know, there wasn't just one report to social services. There was a number, I think maybe 5 or 6. But because how they sort of, well, they did for a while. They attempted to cover it up because the mum was in a same-sex relationship with her partner. Anyone who was sort of making any, claims that there was something, going wrong there, something that shouldn't have been happening, they blamed it on that people were homophobic. They didn't like the same-sex relationship, and this is all coming out of just trying to sort of be mean to them about that. And this is how apparently quite a lot of pattern of the events were able to sort of go sort of under the radar, really, because they put everything down on people not being happy with their sort of same-sex relationship. I really don't like that. I mean, I don't know if they have to or they don't. Ringing them an hour before to tell them they're coming is going to give anyone enough time to cover up things that they want to cover up. Surely when social services, it should be a knock on the door, and that's the first. What do you guys think? I mean, why are they given an hour?
Maybe 10 minutes or something, where, I mean, I can understand if it's like not wanting to waste people time and money, but at the same time, it's a life and death situation, it seems like now, that they're not taking it as seriously as they should do. And that's a concern for me.
That's the scariest thing, like 5 phone calls, 5 individual people have gone and said, I'm concerned about this. Like how many people does it take for something to happen?
That should be enough to ring huge alarm bells, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
And the fact it didn't is a concern. And like we've spoken about before, we actually had this conversation in the yard last week at one of our morning breakfast dinners. And to sort of,
that poor kid made me so sad.
Yeah, we were talking about the little boy Alfie, who was a couple of weeks ago in the news in a similar sort of situation. And it's all very, very sad. And social services are under immense pressure, aren't they? They have such a huge caseload to try and cover. And don't get me wrong, I'm not making any excuses for them, because there is no excuse. But you do have to sort of balance it out a bit. I remember watching, it was a True Life, I think it was like a 3-parter program. I can't remember, I think it was ITV, and it showed a social worker. Do you know which one I mean, Beth?
No,
so
I don't know.
So it showed a social worker covering like this case,
Yeah.
and it was all based on real life events. So, and I remember watching that and seeing the pressure that social workers were under, the lack of support, the lack of funding, from above being told, no, that's fine, push that one aside, get onto that one. It is a lot. Sorry, Laura, what did you want to say?
No, I think I saw that. That's why I was going to say, I think I've seen that.
Yeah. Like the lady had blonde hair. Do you know what I mean? She used to be in Coronation Street. It was a real insight. And I mean, again, I know it's a programme, but those ones that are based on real life events, you know that some of that actually did take place.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you know, there is no excuse. There's been lives lost, so something's gone seriously wrong here. Then you have to think something's got to change, obviously, because just in the space of sort of 2 weeks, there's been 2 of these made headline news. That's not to say how many more have happened and we've just not heard about, because there would have been a lot more. It's just very, very sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very sad, extremely sad.
Yeah. But yeah, let's hope that maybe they need more funding. They need, you know, I think by the sounds of it, the whole system needs a big overhaul, doesn't it? In my opinion, to try and, you know, something's got to change. Can't carry on like this.
Something definitely needs to change.
Yeah.
It's like what I've heard once from, and I think I mentioned this last time, from Bianca, was saying that to be a good social service person, you need to be responsive, not like, you need to be proactive, not reactive. Because you can react just like having all these reports of pictures and you're reacting to it and thinking, nothing to worry about. Or you can think to yourself, why am I getting all these calls? I need to do something, like maybe not call them beforehand, turn up and do everything I can to kind of shock them and kind of catch them out. Because at the end of the day, everyone who are under social services most of the time are really good liars, like with the fact that they're using makeup to cover bruises and cleaning everything up and making up alibis and stuff. It's really scary.
Oh yeah, they're very clever in how they do it. Otherwise, because when you eventually hear the stories, this has been going on for years sometimes, this abuse, this neglect. But you know, surely we need to get to a point where we go, it's better if you get 5 phone calls, it's better for you to turn up, check. You know, even if the outcome of that is at the end, absolutely, that we didn't have any concerns. Because otherwise, this is how, by going, you know, it's absolutely fine. This is how lives are being lost, and this is how children are being mistreated and cruelly neglected and abused, and it's just horrendous.
Definitely.
So, yeah. Let's hope things change for the better, and just, you know, thoughts with their family and friends, because it's just horrendous, isn't it? I think the 2 women, they're getting their sentences today, aren't they? So it'll be interesting to see what they get sentenced. Obviously, they've been found guilty, but then today it's the sentences, and let's see if that's a reflection on the cruel act that they've actually committed. We'll see. Perhaps we'll chat about that tomorrow or the next day when we see how we feel about what their sentences were. So, God, we've got a really good chat this morning. One last thing I wanted to mention before we head off for the morning is, obviously we've been talking about Christmas a bit, and, you know, obviously there's lots of people out there who, you know, struggling with their Christmas presents. We spoke about that scheme that's going on in Northampton. But also we know that a lot of people watching, or a lot of people we work with, are really struggling at the moment. It's a hard time of year as it is, let alone throw in a pandemic, let alone throw in all the, you know, the rises in the prices of heating and gas and everything. So it is really, really tough. And there's going to be some people out there who are thinking, I don't know how I'm going to provide a Christmas dinner this Christmas. Because it's not cheap, is it? And it can be a real pressure for people. So we are talking with the Mccarthy Dixon Foundation. And they, if you haven't heard of them before, they do it's Teresa McCarthy Dixon does some amazing work within Northamptonshire, and has done so much, providing so much for people who are in real sort of desperate times, food-wise, hasn't she? So we are in talks with them to try and help provide Christmas dinner, or at least some food if you need it over the next sort of 10 days or so. So if you are watching, or if you know anyone that is watching, or if you just know of anyone who you know is going to be struggling, we urge you to get in touch with us now. Please don't be embarrassed. There's so many more people who are struggling this year probably than ever before. And we'd like to try and help. Our breakfast buddies that we do in the mornings, and that's where we provide, obviously before COVID, you know, breakfast and teas and coffees, and it's all free because at our organisation we want everyone to be inclusive, and we do understand that times are hard and things aren't easy for people. So please get in touch with us. You can email us on theyard@communitycourtyard.org. You can also contact us on any of our social media. Or if you just want to have a chat about any sort of worries or pressures or anything that you feel is coming up over Christmas, you once again can contact us about that, because although you might not be able to come and see us in the yard, we are all still about, we are all still working, and we're always available to chat whenever any of you need it. So please do bear that in mind and shout if you need us, basically. Right, guys, I think that is us done for this morning. Thank you so much for joining us again. It was a great chat. Yeah, I mean, I think, like we said, Beth and I are going to have to up our Christmas game now. Yeah, so we shall see. We shall see what happens on Friday. But thank you so much for joining us, and everyone watching. I hope you all have an amazing day, and we'll see you all again tomorrow. But have a good one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.